Hello, dear kiddos. Hope you're super excited. We are starting another question paper. So, this is PYQ from 2023, and the paper code is E1. So, let us begin without any further delay. First question. Cellulose does not form blue color with iodine because it is a disaccharide, it is a helical molecule, it does not contain complex helices, and hence cannot hold iodine molecules. It breaks down when iodine reacts with it. Your time starts 3, 2, 1 right now. It's a very simple question. Okay. Cellulose children is also a polysaccharide like starch. But why can't it bind with iodine? Because of its structure, children. It does not have complex helices, right? Whereas if you see starch, it has a beautiful helical shape, right? The structure of the starch is what is enabling them to trap the iodine and create the blue color. But in case of cellulose, they do not have the helical shape. Therefore, it cannot trap iodine and no blue color. Okay. Next one. Which micronutrient is required for splitting of water molecule during photosynthesis? Very important. Manganese, molybdenum, magnesium, copper. Your time starts. 3, 2, 1 right now. For splitting of water is the question. And the answer is manganese. Yeah, very important. It plays a very vital role in splitting of water. So what happens is it is a part of oxygen evolving complex, OEZ, in photosystem 2, right? So that is why it is responsible for taking the electrons from the water and releasing oxygen, protons, and also electrons, right? Therefore manganese plays a key role in splitting of water. The thickness of ozone is a column of air in the atmosphere is measured in terms of Dobson units, decibels, decameter, and kilobees. Your time starts 3, 2, 1 right now. It's very simple. Yes, and the answer is Dobson unit. Yes, children. That tells us how much ozone is present in the vertical column of air. And 1 Dobson unit is equal to 0.01 millimeter thick layer of pure ozone, right? Next one. Here are two statements given, assertion and reason. Assertion: ATP is used in two steps in glycolysis, true or false. And the reason is, first ATP is used in converting glucose into glucose 6-phosphate, and second ATP is used for conversion of fructose 6-phosphate into fructose 1,6 diphosphate. What do you think? Both A and R are true, and R is correctly explaining A. Both A and R are true, but R is not correctly explaining A. A is true, R is false, A is false, R is true. What do you think? Your time starts 3, 2, 1 right now. So all these are going to be like a rapid fire question because yeah, you are learning this from your grade 10. Yes, children, both are very true. You all know that in glycolysis, ATP is used twice, right? One at the conversion of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate and one at the conversion of fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6 diphosphate. Yeah. Yes, both are correct, and the reason is correctly explaining the assertion. Upon exposure to UV radiation, DNA stained with ethidium bromide will show what color? Bright red, bright blue, bright yellow, bright orange. Your time starts 3, 2, 1 right now. Very simple question, right? Yes, it shows a beautiful bright orange color, children. Well, what exactly is happening? The science behind it. If you see, when you stain DNA with ethidium bromide and when you expose it to UV light, this color is seen. Actually, it's a fluorescent dye, right? So what happens is when the UV radiation hits the stained DNA, it excites the ethidium bromide, so making it glow in orange color, right? So that's how we clearly find the DNA. That fluorescence, orange fluorescence, help us find the DNA. Among the evil quartet, which one is considered the most important cause driving extinction of species? Habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation for economic gain, alien species invasion, and co-extinction. The most important cause which is driving extinction. Your time starts now. Yes, so the answer is option A, habitat loss and fragmentation. Children, first of all, what is habitat loss? When the natural environments are destroyed or changed so much that the animals and plants can no longer survive there. Of course, the human interference, right? And fragmentation, they are breaking the larger pieces into small isolated patches, and therefore it makes it very hard for the wildlife to roam around, to find mates or maintain healthy population, right? So this leads to extinction. Smaller population, less genetic diversity, and hence ultimately it leads to extinction. Next one. Which one of the following stages of meiosis involves division of centromere? Very simple question. Metaphase 1, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, and telophase. Your time starts now. Division of centromere starts at which phase? Very simple, children. Anaphase 2, right? So the division of centromere takes place during anaphase 2, where the centromere split and the sister chromatids are pulled apart to the opposite poles, right? Very important. Which hormone promotes internode or petiole elongation in deep water rice? GA3, kinetin, ethylene, 2,4-D. Your time starts now. Very simple questions now, children. The level I would say is very easy, and the answer here is ethylene, right? So the deep water rice, it's nothing but a special type of rice that grows in the flood prone area, right? And the plant needs to elongate its internodes and petiole. Why? To keep its leaf above the water, right? Thereby it can exchange gas. So the hormone responsible for this elongation is ethylene. Okay? Yes. Frequency of recombination between gene pairs on same chromosome as a measure of distance between gene to map their position on chromosome was used for the first time by whom? Thomas Hunt Morgan, Sutton and Boveri, Alfred Sturtevant, and Henking. Your time starts 3, 2, 1 right now. The name of the scientist, of course, is important, and this 2023 paper signifies that. Yes, Alfred Sturtevant. So he is basically the student of Thomas Hunt Morgan, and he was working with fruit flies, right? The Drosophila. And Sturtevant, he found that the closer together genes, when they are very close together on a chromosome, they have lower recombination frequency. The ones which are very far apart have higher recombination frequency. Yeah, that's very true, right? And that's how he created the idea of first genetic map. How many ATPs in NADPH2 are required for the synthesis of one molecule of glucose during Calvin cycle? Easy and important. 12 ATP, 12 NADPH, 18 ATP, 12 NADPH, 12 ATP, 16 NADPH2, 18 ATP, 16 NADPH2. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Your time starts now. Right. So the answer is 18 ATP and 12 NADP. Student, 3 ATPs take 6 turns, right? Since it takes 6 turns to make one glucose molecules, right? 3 ATPs, they are taking 6 turns. Likewise, 2 NADPH2, they are taking 6 turns. So 3 into 6, 18, and 2 into 6, 12. 18 and 12. So this is what is exactly happening in the Calvin cycle. Okay, kiddos? Yeah. So with that, we are completing the first set of 10 questions, and stay tuned for part 2 of 2023 PYQ discussion. And if you're enjoying the video, do like, share, and subscribe. Tata, bye-bye.